Let's face it, WWE is a product of its time, and with this show that's been going on for more than 30 years, there's sure to be a few segments that just haven't aged well. Looking back at things now, it's crazy to see the kind of stuff they were putting out there in the name of entertainment that just wouldn't fly with today's audience. It's always important to get these WWE segments right, as they are generally designed to entertain and engage the audience, but also help build bridges between stories so they can flow better. Who can forget Booker T's now infamous promo in WCW when he was feuding with Hulk Hogan and the N-word slipped out in the heat of the moment.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you!
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Oh, and let's not forget when our current tribal chief slipped the N-word when talking to Seth Rollins.
You must be sleeping under a rock or something.
What did he say?
And while these can be a slip of the tongue moment, the same can't be said for Vince McMahon's case. It's a different story. Back when the internet wasn't as prevalent, many fans didn't react like they normally would now. Vince was portraying his heel gimmick in 2005, and at the Survivor Series, when Vince greeted John Cena backstage, Vince didn't hesitate to call John Cena the N-word.
Give it up, I'm a nigga!
To be fair, it was just Vince playing a character, and at the same time having a dig at Booker T for the slip up back in WCW. So whilst the segment used the N-word, it was meant to be for laughs. But it's safe to say this will be the last time you see this type of segment.
If you're not Caucasian, then leave.
Maybe not. Similar to this case are the classic making fun of someone's accent or the way they speak moments. And The Rock was the king of impressions.
Beat Rikishi! I did it for The Rock.
I would be lying to you if I say this shit didn't make me laugh out loud back in the day.
Let The Rock tell you in Chinese.
Uh-oh. Chinese?
Ding bong ding dong, he's Stone Cold Aye!
But in 2017, we were all blessed with one of the worst world title reigns of all time in the form of the WWE champion Jinder Mahal. When Shinsuke Nakamura entered a feud with Jinder for the world title, let's be honest, Jinder can't cut a decent promo even if his life depended on it. So what did the creative team decide for him? They let Jinder make fun of his facial expressions and accent to get inside the head of Nakamura, and even yelling out,
You always rook the same.
This didn't sit well with fans online, and even the fans in attendance began to chant. Fans called out WWE for their shameful humor, which led to them learning their lesson, and no wrestler has made racist remarks against their opponent again. They did, however, had to learn another lesson about the portrayal of women in WWE. Long gone are the days of the bra and panty matches. And we can all thank Triple H for how he revolutionized women's wrestling beginning in 2014 with his version of the black and gold era of NXT. Before that, Vince was mostly bent on utilizing the women wrestlers for the other stuff. One such example that comes to mind the most is when Vince and Trish Stratus tangled back in 2001. Trish Stratus initially aligned herself with Vince McMahon, acting as his on-screen mistress and doing his bidding.
I said, hold up, wait a minute.
The segment that drew significant attention and controversy occurred on the February 25th, 2001 episode of Monday Night Raw. During this segment, Vince McMahon publicly humiliated Trish Stratus by ordering her to strip down and get on her knees and bark like a dog in front of the live audience. At the time, WWE received huge backlash from fans, critics, and women's rights groups who argued that it crossed the line by degrading women, and you can tell they listened, as the closest we ever got to this in the modern WWE era was when probably Mandy Rose removing her bathrobe in front of Jimmy Uso, or even when Lana and Enzo tangled with each other backstage and in the hotel on Raw. These days, women like Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sky are killing the shows of how far WWE has shifted its focus towards a more family-friendly product and placed a greater emphasis on women's wrestling as a legitimate athletic competition.
But wait, there's more.
But who can forget the segment that involved Edge getting intimate with Lita on an episode of Raw in 2006? As a teenage boy watching that shit, you know what we were all feeling. That shit was crazy. After winning his first ever WWE Championship by defeating John Cena, Edge decided to go a little further and celebrate with Lita in his own unique manner. The live sex celebration is widely regarded as one of the strangest segments of all time.
Say what?
The segment involved Edge getting all steamy with Lita in a bed that was placed inside the ring. The segment further saw interruptions from the Nature Boy Ric Flair because why not? John Cena also interrupted the segment by attacking Edge. It was pure entertainment. But apparently, all four of the superstars involved weren't on board with this idea, and Lita was uncomfortable with this segment. She eventually revealed on her Twitch stream that WWE disgracefully threatened to fire her if she didn't do the segment. The company can't even think of doing something like this today, considering its PG rules and how much the younger demographic views the product.
But wait, there's more.
There are also times when I have to question the booking decision of the company's creative team, and this is one of those very instances. In 2002, Triple H entered a feud with Kane, and to say that they had a classic rivalry would certainly be an understatement. What's even more controversial is that Hunter brought up Kane's high school crush named Katie Vick, who died in a car accident. That's pretty normal, right?
Hey people, move along, there's nothing to see here.
What's not normal is getting all cozy with Katie's corpse. In an awful segment, Triple H was seen wearing Kane's mask, and he went on to get intimate inside a casket. WWE received considerable backlash for the storyline and segment, and it is often cited as an example of the company's missteps in pushing boundaries for shock value during that era. In subsequent years, WWE has acknowledged the Katie Vick storyline is a low point in their creative history and has made efforts to move towards more responsible and respectful storytelling. But if there is any era of time where WWE pushed the boundaries the most, it was most certainly the Attitude Era. One faction that always tried to go as far as possible the most is certainly Triple H and DX. Back then, DX were always hilarious. They had memorable feuds with the Hart Foundation and McMahon's. They parodied other wrestlers, invaded WCW, and engaged in provocative behavior.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
But if there is one segment that I look back on now but still find funny, is when DX went to the streets of New York back in 1998. And whilst we see wrestlers making fun of the culture of different countries, DX took it to a whole new level. DX went outside the streets of New York City, interact with different individuals, and it was wild. We all knew that DX would make people do their signature taunt, but Triple H was tripping. He came across a few Pakistani and Indian men, and he began talking in an Asian accent that made fun of them. Hunter even went to a local shop and asked if the owner had a Pakistani magazine. But what takes the cake is that Hunter came across a fine gentleman who was wearing a turban, and Hunter proceeded to ask him,
If I pull that, does that start your motor?
Now this may have been hilarious back then, but now this would get you instantly cancelled, as fans would destroy the company online for making ethnicity jokes and all that stuff. Finally, we couldn't complete this list without including probably the worst segment WWE has ever aired, and I saved it for last. What's more surprising is the Undertaker was involved. WWE has done a lot of things for the sake of sports entertainment, and this one's no different. At WrestleMania 15, the Undertaker defeated the Big Boss Man in one of the worst Hell in a Cell matches of all time. The match wasn't the thing that fans remember till this day. It was what happened after the referee ordered for the bell to be rung. The dead man put a noose around Big Boss Man's neck, and when the cell rose, he took the dude with him, making it look like an act of lynch. Now you must be thinking, we see stuff like this in the movies, so why is it any different? Well, it's happening on live TV, that's why. Knowing how they could land in hot waters, WWE would never ever perform a murder segment on TV these days. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out the downfall of Goldberg's career. The video is on your screen right now.